Hello and welcome to a quick walkthrough of the TransactionMinder platform, a platform built for real estate agents by real estate agents to help them keep track of transactions, require tasks for those transactions, and any leads that they have that they're working towards a transaction. We'll begin by signing in, which you can do with a Google account with an email and password. You can email yourself a link if you forgot your password, or you can use your phone. So we'll log into a sample user. This user gets their dashboard with their leads. These are the people that they're working towards putting into a transaction. And they've got one open transaction here in the transaction section. So you can see the count next to each of these sections. I can add a new lead or a new transaction from here. Let's look at this buyer lead. This is John Smith. He's an existing client. He's looking to buy a townhouse in this price range in Las Vegas. We just started working with him, and we can actually edit that because we actually aren't starting to work with him until this date in this particular case. So we're actually doing this ahead of time. They've already signed the buyer disclosures, the buyer broker agreement, and we've set up an automated search. And the reason why we're not working with them actively is because this particular lead is also working on selling their home. So we've got John Smith here as a seller. So we can look at the seller version of John Smith. They're selling a single family home in the 575 price range. This is the address. We started working with them in June, and this was a referral. We listed the property on the 1st. It expires on October 30th. We've asked for a 3% commission, and they agreed to that in the listing agreement. So they've signed the listing agreement if you look at the completed tasks here. The next process that we have to accomplish is scheduling the photos and preparing the listing and marketing materials. So let's say we want to schedule the photos by a specific date, just as a reminder. We want to make sure that we're scheduling those photos by Monday. We save that. And now it'll get highlighted with a ring around it with a due date that's coming up within 7 days. Like I said, once we have this property in contract, we've done all of these things. We've pushed the listing live, we've scheduled the showings, we reviewed offers, we've accepted an offer. We can convert it easily into a transaction. So we click that and we'll convert this particular lead into a transaction. Once we convert them to a transaction, let's say we have this property in contract, we can see that the TransactionMinder data has got a lot more information about the contract. Basically, when you get a contract and you've accepted it, you go through and you enter the key information, the information about the client, what side of the deal you're on. This is the address, an MLS number, parcel number. In this particular case, the buyer's coming in with a loan. The property does belong to an HOA. This is the accepted date, and this is the close date for this transaction. We're in contract at the asking price of $575. And the earnest money is $7,500. This is the agreed to listing commission based on the contract. The seller's not providing the credit, but they are paying for a home protection plan. And the protection plan company is to be determined. So if later on we know what that company is, we can put that in here and save the update so we know it's for American Home Shield. The reminders for this transaction are based on the template. So the template was the simple purchase agreement, has a bunch of stock templates. You can always edit your template or save your own custom templates as needed. You can add or delete fields that aren't necessary. In this case, when we first put it into contract, there were things about the solar panels, which in this case there are no solar panels, so we don't have to see them in the transaction. Let's say we've ordered the transaction or the HOA resale package, so we can check that off as complete, and we'll move down to the completed section here. So the buyer scheduled their inspection, they opened escrow, the loan application was submitted, and we've ordered the CIC package for this particular transaction. So these are a few more that are coming due soon, and these are other tasks that are typical in the transaction in our area. So these are the things that everyone has to do. You can see which parts of the transaction are focused on the buyer, escrow company, if you've got escrow reminders, this one's already completed, seller related, and then title company related tasks and reminders. In this case, we've added a few contacts to the transaction. The seller is added, so if we ever want to send tasks to the seller, we can assign them to the seller and they'll get an email copy of the transaction. We can always send an email summary to everyone involved in the transaction or to individuals. We can check who we want to send that to. So if you wanted to send a current status to the seller, we can do that very easily. If we want to copy a summary, we can copy to the clipboard and then we can paste it into a text message to any party that we want. As you can see here, we've got other parties involved, the title company, the lender, home inspector, the agent from the other side, and the agent or the transaction coordinator for the buyer as well. Any documents that you have for your transaction can be kept with the TransactionMinder system. If you have your own proprietary document management system, you don't have to use that feature. And in this case, because the deal has a loan, we can capture the loan status. So when the buyer's agent tells us they've applied, they've signed the disclosures, and they've submitted the document, and the lender has the documents and the lender has the transaction in for processing, we know that. Once they've moved to underwriting, we can update the status with a simple click. And then we can go back to the overview. So every day when there's tasks due, you'll get an email for each transaction. And anytime you have active leads, you'll get a separate email with a summary of all the leads that you have that you're working on. And any tasks that you've got underneath those leads, anything like this, the scheduled photos, those will appear in the email as well, so you know what's due coming soon for the leads. So again, this is a very simple tool. The goal is to make the data entry as minimal as possible. So creating a new lead is simple. You either find or add a customer, you select the side, you pick a few things, you put in the price range, you may add some areas and then any timelines if it's something that's coming in the future, and any notes you want. And you can decide if this is a buyer lead process, or if you just want to build a new one with no tasks built in, you can start that as well. Same thing with transactions. If we add a new transaction, you can pick a template, and this template has all these reminders. So let's say we change the financing to loan. You'll see a new task will appear, loan application will appear, appraisal contingency, loan contingency, those appear in the reminders. If the seller property belongs to an HOA, put yes, we'll add a few more. So we have to request a CIC package, the buyer to receive the CIC package by a specific date. And it's all based on the dates in the contracts. These reminders are calculated for you automatically. So again, trying to make it as simple as possible and as inexpensive as possible for agents to stay on top of their transactions to make sure they're providing the best service they can for their customers, and of course, to protect their customers. We definitely welcome feedback, so please do, as you're going through using the tool, as you're going through our product, please do make any suggestions or report any issues that you find with the tool, and we hope you enjoy using it.